Boys and girls, Alex here. What I'd like to do in this video is try to demonstrate some of the software, well actually in particular CorelDraw, of how I go about making up these patterns to engrave onto the side of this box. Well, this is my latest design. I call it another maze puzzle, box puzzle, as it says there. This is the box as it is assembled without any patterns on it. This gives you the x-ray of it. Now the first box I made, I buggered up, but this is a pattern I use. So I'm making two new boxes and I'm using this pattern on one and this pattern on another. Now I make this video more so that it's a reminder for me in later time, if I decide to make another puzzle box, how I go about doing it. Because I did use this concept for another box that I had to relearn what I did. So at least if I do a video, it'll remind me, and hopefully it might give somebody else out there some ideas if they have a copy of CorelDraw and don't use this particular feature. All right, to get into CorelDraw, I've taken a copy of an existing puzzle or an existing model, and while I've imported that file there, that's just so I can identify it. As you can see, it's still got all the previous stuff for it. I work on the back page, back side, only because that is the most complex. Now what I'll do is import a pattern, but before I do, I'll get into my pattern collection. What I did a while back is I downloaded a swag of simple clip art from the internet. Might have been something like this, and then by copying it and cloning it side by side, stitching it together, I finished up with this item. As you can see, that there's a whole heap of pieces cloned, stitched together. Now if you have a look, this is a much bigger one again, and the point about this is, and say this is what I've come up with. Now I don't want all that pattern on the box, so I eventually did a bit of a crop on that and came up with this, and I thought that'd be just a nice display on the side or the top of the box. Now let's get into CorelDraw. Here we are here. I do a what is that? Control M is my import. I'll bring that in, and I use the P to center it. What we now have is our bitmap imported. Now, CorelDraw doesn't actually like printing out bitmaps the way I need to for the laser, so that has to be converted to vector. The way to do that is you do an outline trace, clip art. I usually go full detail, click OK. What that will do is come up with a whole heap of what it finds, all different colours that it has interpreted. Now to find out which I need, or what I need to do with its interpretation of the colour, I turn it to red. Now that didn't say much, but if I click on each one and then hone in on, you can see that part there, he's decided it's going to be red, However, it should be white, but because white is not printable, I'll just delete that. So all those what would have been red, I'll just delete. Go on to the next one. Again, it's a case of trying to see. Now that one's that there you are. That's the same one. Looks like they can again be deleted. Now, if I delete that, that would join that up with this curve here, which seems like, where would that be repeated? Here we are, that this is where it would be. Now I can see there that it should be black. So what I need to do is I'll break that group apart. I've got a hotkey set up for that. Another hotkey to combine them. And I'll convert that to, whoops, black. Let's go on to the next one. Sorry, this is just a bit boring, so maybe fast forward. That's got to be, by the looks of it, black. I'm making a guess on that. Where's that other one? Down there. Yeah, or actually, no, I've decided I'm going to make them both black. Rightly or wrongly, that's it, yeah. Doesn't matter, decision's been made. Okay, let's go to the next colour. They're definitely going to be black, I can see that. That's turned all the whites to red, so that can definitely just go. That's all the blacks. Well, naturally the blacks stay red, stay black. And what I'll finish up doing is breaking that apart, connecting those. And now we've got our particular grid or our pattern that's ready to be broken up or cut up into pieces. Now let's lock that for a minute. In here on the back layer, this is going to be our cut out piece. But I'll go back to another one. You'll notice what I do is I put a border around the pattern, because if I actually printed the pattern over the perimeter of that, you'd have all these breakout infill that isn't supported on the edge. And I just don't think it'd look that good. So anyway, looks good or not, I've chosen to go with that white border around a darker border followed by the pattern. Now to get that, there you go, front, back. To get that, what I do is highlight the perimeter and go into contour. I do make a contour of 1 mil inside contour and apply that. And, or is it 1.5? I can never remember. I'll go back. I think it might have been 1.5 mil. Yeah. And then what I do is I make that, hang on, we go back into here, Object Manager, contour. We break the contour apart. And now we've got the blue line and the black line. Now the blue line is going to be our perimeter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to immediately lock that. So, well, I didn't want to lock that. I just wanted to lock the perimeter so I don't accidentally obliterate it. Now the black line I'm going to turn into 0.75 mil. And as you can see, that has given us that perimeter that we wanted. Now I'll lock that perimeter as well so we don't destroy it. Now what I've also done is made up this, oops, wrong page, made up this grid. Yeah, made up this grid. Sorry, I was a bit concerned now of how they have to be cut. Now, the red line means I've got to make the cuts from the bottom. The blue lines are the cuts I have to make. Now, when I make the cut, I'm cutting along this black line, hopefully, and you'll see what, and that'll be the pattern that I cut out for printing out of that other pattern. And the green are the horizontal ones. The X's just represent, they're the bits that have to be deleted, as opposed like that bit that eventually gets cut out there. Where is it? Here. That'll have to be deleted while that part stays in. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, now we've got the grid. Let's get the pattern. See, unlock that. I do a cut, Control C, and a paste, which is a V, which puts it on that, and I can now hide that. So we're now actually working on that curve on the local layer. Now, as you can see, what I will do is I'll use the crop tool to actually crop out the maximum size of that pattern that we need. Oh, come on. Here we go. Right there. Double click on that and it's cropped up. And that is, oh no, it's not. We did buggered that up because see, we're missing out this bottom bit. So let's go back again and bring this crop line. Where is the crop line? There is it. Oh, I haven't. Actually, sorry, I haven't made the crop line. Let's try again. It's going to come right down to this line here. Okay. And now it's just a matter of starting to slice up. Now, what I'll do is I'll call this curve middle because the bulk of it is going to finish up in the middle. I'll slice off this top bit here. What I use is the knife. As you can see, it's cut that out. If I hide this middle, you see what it's finished up cutting, and the cut is along the black line, so hopefully it'll be well, the cut will be hidden. We'll call that top one. There is a reason for it, and you see, because you see there's that top one and another top one. The bottom will only have one part. And it's very well, I found this very important to get in here and start naming them so you don't bloody what's his name lose track of what you're doing. Now I'll hide that. I don't want it confusing me. Let's go this one. That'll now become top two. And I'll hide that. Because you see, if you just hide it without renaming it, you've got no idea. We'll work on the middle again. Let's cut here and cut here. Now, that'll become right. That stays the middle, and that'll become left. Okay, let's hide those two. And the final cut on that, well, not the final cut, but we'll do another cut on the middle, and that becomes the bottom. And we'll hide that. Now you can see the middle can be one part. What I then try and do is I've got this group here called processed. I'll move that up there so I get it out of the way, doesn't confuse me. I'll lock that so I don't accidentally bugger it up, and I'll hide it. So now I can start showing these. Actually, I'll hide the two top ones. Now, as you can see, what I'll do now is start doing a major slice. That goes there. Actually, I'll even hide the bottom. I don't particularly want to see the bottom there. That goes there. Okay, now let's try and sort out what's what. That, oops, that piece is not needed. That piece is not needed. So what we, and that bottom piece is not needed. So that now will become our left. We'll group that. Call that left. And move that up to processed. Just make sure we don't print it. Okay, now what we've got here is the right, well, the right pieces left from the right. We don't need that. We don't need that. And we don't need that. So those three can be grouped, and that becomes our right. Let's move that up to processed. And let's have a look at the bottom. Now the bottom, as I said, what we use the red lines for that, so no, here you go, it's cut. That we don't need. That and that, and I'd say that one we don't need. As you can see, the pattern that we need is starting to take shape. That we don't need. So those two become the bottom. Let's move that back up to processed. And let's undo the top, sorry, show the top. Now, as you can see, the blue lines are what we use to cut this to pieces. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's clean up while we're at it. That piece we don't need. I don't even know why I cut that. No, no, we don't need that piece either. Okay, let's cut that. Sorry, this is probably boring while you're sitting there watching. Okay. Don't need that. That. Okay, so they stay as top one. Now let's hide that and unhide top 2. Now let's cut that up again. It just doesn't want to seem to cut on this line here. So, unfortunately, what I have to do is cheat, and I'll then crop this. Buggy out, yeah. Oops. Let's try and get the right tool. Crop. Because what I don't want is this part here. So, I've got to do it on the blue here. Let's go across. And looks like it's cropped it for me, which is what I wanted. Now, what I'll have to do is bring back this other top 2 and I'll move that out. The reason why I'm moving it out is because I found that when I do a crop, even though I might protect it, it actually gets deleted. Now, let's try this. I doubt if this is going to work for some reason. No. No. Alright, what I'll do then is I'll take this and create it. Now look, I'll hide this. I'll lock and I'll even hide it and see if this actually works. Because what I want is this part here. So let's do a crop of this. But I'm pretty sure this top hidden one is going to get obliterated. No, it didn't. Well, I'll be stuffed. Alright, let's lock and hide that. And show and unlock that. So what we want here is this part. Oh boy. Now, unlock, show object. So that becomes top 2, and let's bring that one down here. What happened to top 1? Alright, now everything being equal, let's hide the grid and bring across all these other little shits. And as you can see, the pattern is now complete and sliced up as required. Now what I will do is this unlock. That is actually the border, and I usually call that, I recall that border. Now all the border and all that shit, if I group together, that becomes a engrave. And that is what I would normally engrave, as you can see. And then the blue perimeter is what it actually gets cut. And naturally the first thing I do is I group that together. So make sure all the other pages are locked. Even though there's nothing in there, lock them, make sure they're not printable. And of course this back layer you want it printable, otherwise you'd never do it. And there you have it. Then what you would do, for all it's worth, that's the back. I've actually got rid of the, I've only left the bottom perimeter in there, but it's got its own grid. And if we go to, we've gone back to the front has still got the original pattern. Here we go. Let's have a look at that. What I would do is get rid of the engrave, and look, the border I'd leave there because I showed you how we actually do the border anyway. The grid is its own, and the pattern, I think it's the old pattern there, which means that I'd probably unlock that, delete that curve, and if I went to the bottom, looked at the pattern, no, that's the back. Try the bottom. No, the back is where I want. Sorry, God. Look at the pattern. Bugger. There we go. Cut that. Oh boy, talk about bloody incompetence. We go to the front. In the front, we get onto the pattern area. We paste it. And now we've got that same pattern in the front. Naturally, you would then cut that. Oh, well, it's already in the memory. We go to the front layer, put it in there, turn on the grid, and start cutting it up into pieces. Anyway, by God, I think this has taken a long time. That's basically it. And then from then on, when you say you've got your back, here we go. It's really a case of get up there to print. We know the size of the page is 172 by 92. We go in there, current page. Oops. Trade track engraver. Preferences would be 172 by 92. 172 by 92. It's not 3 mil, it's 6 mil. I know that. It's 6 mil, 2E1C. That means 2 engrave, 1 color, and it's multi, as in it's got many layers of color available. Print that. You key in there whatever name you want. Normally what I put in there is what it is, like 6 mil MDF, a description and the dimensions of it, just so when I save the file I know what size, what's the minimum size of MDF I need to load to be able to cut it out. Hit enter. Because of the graphics, it could take a while. Oh, that was fairly quick. Here we go. Now, if you have a look, that's exactly what's going to happen. This will now tell you calculation. Oh, let's go back to calculation. Oh. If you click on that, that's going to tell you that it's going to take 11 minutes to engrave, and because of the blue border around it, it's going to take 41 seconds to cut that at. If you go into the materials, we're looking at 6mm MDF2E1 Charlie, and that basically tells you there you are. One blackie's engraved, so there's 2 passes, and the cut is red. It follows in this sequence: red, blue. I haven't got any red, so it's only blue, and none of the other colours. Cancel that. What I would then do is save that to a file, and then go to the laser room and print it off. But that's it, boys and girls. If it's given you some ideas, great. If it hasn't, it doesn't matter, because I'll be able to watch it next time. All right.